The sort of light bulb moment, as I call it, happened in the fall of 2021. The Reign, which is Seattle's NWSL team, they were in the semifinals. I was talking to my partner. I'm like, let's go to a real soccer bar and watch the game, and have some cold beers. And he was like, well, you should probably call and see if they're playing it. I did. I started calling around, and the first one said, who? And the second one said, no, we're not going to play that game. And the third one essentially was like, well, we have it scheduled, but it'll come on after the football game is over on that screen. And I was just shocked. We were in 2021. We had some of the best players in the world on our team, and none of our local soccer bars were even playing this game.
Huerta crossing, Rapinoe! Megan Rapinoe's done it now! And put OL right ahead!
And I was just kind of raving about it. And my partner was like, why don't you do something? Why don't you do something? Why don't you change it? Why don't you change the game? Open a place and play women's sports. I was like, oh my God, that's the coolest idea ever. And it was one of those moments where you hit on something that is so needed, that it is so right. And I just couldn't let it go. And in February, just a few months later, this lovely place came to be.
To
have a place like Ref and Tumble here in Seattle, it's like nothing I've ever experienced, where they just, they prioritize women, and queer women at that. It's very empowering, very, inspiring for younger kids that want to play sports and look up to, women who are athletes, and it's very motivating. Just to have that here is incredible.
I think Seattle is one of the cities that has one of the better communities, that is certainly the most welcoming and feeding of the queer community, and I think that Rough and Tumble certainly is just innately part of that.
If you would have asked me, hey, do you like sports bars? My immediate answer is absolutely not. No way, that doesn't sound like my kind of vibe. But when it's women's sports, there's a bunch of female and women identifying folks there, it just feels like a really positive, fun experience. Yeah, after this, I'm kind of like, maybe I should follow the WNBA. Maybe we should go to a basketball game or something.
It is a very diverse crowd. It's, you'll have newborns in strollers, you'll have grandmothers, you'll have, pre-Title IX women who come in crying because they cannot have ever imagined that a place like this would exist when they were growing up. This is a really cool environment, and it is just a microcosm of what women's sports fans already are.
I think it's no secret that women's sports are taking over the whole world. I think the interest has always been there for women's sports, but now we just have the perfect place, dare I say, to go and watch it together with our friends, with our family. I remember growing up, who I had to watch was the U.S. women's national team, and that was really all. And it was hard to find them on TV, and they were my heroes, but I barely got to see them. And I just think it's so important for little girls to relate to somebody and be like, this is what I want to do.
One of the things that I knew I was really looking forward to doing was having more of an impact on encouraging young women athletes, especially in non-binary and girl-identifying kids, to get into sports, to start playing sports. So one of the things that I'm incredibly proud of is helping bring the USLW team to Ballard. It's a semi-pro level team, and it's a very important part of the pyramid, the development pyramid in soccer. The more opportunities we can open up for athletes to be able to play, it gives more opportunities for kids to consider, wow, my playing career isn't over at the end of high school, or my playing career isn't over at the end of college.
When I was younger, I didn't have a professional sports league to look for. You could have a dream team, but if they don't need your position, then they're not going to look at you. So it's having all these different opportunities in different places, and I just think that's so beautiful.
It's making it normal. It's making it okay for a little girl to be like, okay, if I work really hard, this is going to be my job.
I just have countless stories of little girls, 3, 4, 7, 8, looking up at screens and being mesmerized because they've never really seen women players on TV screens. And one of my favorite stories is these 2 little girls with their mom were looking up at the screen and watching a WNBA game. And one of them looked over at their mom and said, oh, Mom, I didn't know girls could be basketball players. Can I be that when I grow up? I mean, that's seeing oneself represented on a screen shifted something. It gave her the idea that there was an opportunity. It gave her the potential. It gave her something to consider that had not been in her brain before. And if that is all we do, we've done everything right. I hope it's a lot more than that.
Watch CityStream Tuesday nights at 7 on the Seattle channel, or find us anytime online at seattle.gov.